Canadians who are hoping to buy and struggling to afford a home are sifting through the federal budget's plan addressing the housing crisis. This budget is committing $25 billion over 5 years to, quote, supercharge home building. But much of that funding stems from previously announced programs, leaving some housing experts feeling a little underwhelmed. For a closer look at this budget's housing commitments, we're joined by Carolyn Weitzman, senior housing researcher and adjunct professor at the University of Toronto School of Cities. Welcome to your morning.
Good morning.
So this was being billed as a transformational budget. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says the budget includes the most ambitious housing plan since the Second World War. Who does this budget help in terms of housing?
The budget takes a slight turn towards helping the people who are most in need. A lot of it, as you mentioned earlier, have previously been announced. So there's $1 billion for transitional and supportive housing to help get people out of homelessness. That is very welcome, but it's been the same amount in the Rapid Housing Initiative before, and this was previously announced in the 2024 budget. The Build Canada Homes emphasis is on non-market housing. That's extremely welcome because public land should be used for public good, and non-market housing, that is public housing, co-op housing, nonprofit housing, are all forms of housing that tend to be more affordable for a longer period of time. But there aren't any new amounts announced. These were previously announced levels that are very much in line with previous funding for affordable housing. So it's a step in the right direction, but I wouldn't call it radical, transformational, or indeed enough to meet the needs of the millions of Canadians who are homeless or in inadequate housing.
Yeah, you know, and the Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness also points out about this budget that there are people who are also worried about losing their housing. They fall into these concerns as well. The key housing commitments in the budget, those were announced back in September, as you mentioned, by Prime Minister Mark Carney. Build Homes Canada, to remind everybody, was a federal agency designed to build affordable housing. They're going to receive $13 billion in the next 5 years. So, Carolyn, how far does that money go in addressing the current housing crisis?
Well, the initial target for Build Canada Homes is 4,000 homes, and that's going to be a drop in the bucket. The optimistic perspective is that there's a lot more money that's going into industrial construction and into ways that will hopefully, in the slightly longer term, unlock new ways of building housing. I should also mention that finally, the federal government is allowing acquisition of apartment buildings, rooming houses, etc., that are at risk of losing affordability, and that's one mechanism, although not the only mechanism, to help stop people from falling into homelessness. So in terms of housing for the people who need housing the most, there's nothing in the budget yesterday that was new or surprising. As you say, there were announcements in September, and there were announcements in the last budget in 2024 that are being carried through.
What housing commitments are missing from this budget?
Yeah, a generational or transformational housing budget would have targets of about 200,000 homes per year for low to median income households, whether it's new rental housing or whether it's new ownership housing with some sort of covenant on it to make sure that it stays permanently affordable. That's the kind of budget that the Federal Housing Advocate, for instance, or the National Housing Council, both federal bodies, have been calling for to actually address the level of the housing crisis that we're in.
Mm-hmm. And I guess if we can dig into that a little bit, Carolyn, about the fact that there is money promised to build new houses and to clear the red tape and to make that happen a little bit faster. So it would put more housing into the market. But this bubble, this pocket that you talk about, that 200,000 homes that are needed to sort of take care of the crisis, the money for that is missing. Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
Yeah, Build Canada Homes has a target of 4,000 homes over 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 200,000 every year for the next few decades. So you can see the difference. If the federal government is serious about doubling home production to 500,000 or 480,000 new homes per year, at least 40% of those need to be affordable to the majority of Canadians to have an impact.
And I think there you have articulated the frustration for so many people when they look at these numbers and the policies that are in place. Carolyn Weitzman, Senior Housing Researcher and Adjunct Professor at the University of Toronto School of Cities. Great to have you post-Budget Day. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good morning. Thank you very much.
You too.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.